I thought I knew everything about the man I was about to marry. I was wrong. The day I discovered what Adam had been hiding, I realized that sometimes the people we love the most are strangers wearing familiar faces. My name is Diana Thorne, and I'm an architect. At 28, I had built what I thought was a perfect life in Cleveland. My career was flourishing, my relationship with Adam Vance seemed like something out of a romance novel, and wedding bells were just around the corner. Everyone told us we were the perfect couple. His calm demeanor balanced my enthusiastic optimism, his stability grounded my creative chaos, and his love felt like the safest place in the world. But there was always something he would not let me touch. A locked door in his heart that I convinced myself did not matter. Adam and I met 3 years ago at a charity fundraiser. He was standing alone near the bar, and something about his solitary presence drew me in. He told me he worked in finance, had moved to Cleveland for work, and preferred quiet evenings to loud parties. Our relationship bloomed quickly. Within 6 months we were living together, and within a year, he proposed on a snowy December evening. But even in those early days, there were signs. Adam never drank alcohol, not even a glass of wine at dinner. When I asked why, he simply said he did not like the taste. And whenever I mentioned meeting his family or asked about his childhood, his entire body language changed. His shoulders would tense, his jaw would tighten, and he would deflect with practiced ease. "They live in another part of Ohio," he would say vaguely. "We are not really close." At first, I respected his boundaries. My own parents, Sarah and Robert Thorne, had raised me in a loving, stable home where family meant everything, but I understood that not everyone was so fortunate. So I let it go, believing that in time, Adam would open up to me. The first real crack appeared 6 months before our planned wedding, when I invited Adam to dinner with my parents. It was meant to be casual, but when my mother asked about his family attending the wedding, Adam became visibly tense. "They will not be attending," he said flatly. My father frowned. "Are they unable to travel? If it is a matter of expense, we would be happy to help." "They just will not be there. We are not close." Adam's tone had taken on an edge I rarely heard. "Adam," I said softly, "maybe we could at least invite them?" "No." The single word cut through the room like a blade. "I have already told you, Diana, they will not be part of this. Can we please drop it?" The silence that followed was suffocating. We finished dinner in strained conversation and left shortly after. In the car, I could not hold it in anymore. "Adam, what was that? My parents were just trying to be helpful." "I know. I am sorry. I just cannot talk about my family. Please, Diana, just trust me on this. But I am going to be your wife. How can I marry someone who will not even tell me about where he came from?" Adam took my hands, his grip tight and desperate. "Diana, I love you more than anything. My past is dark and painful, and I do not want to bring that darkness into your life. Can you understand that?" Looking into his eyes, seeing the genuine pain there, I felt my resistance crumbling. So I nodded and told him I understood. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. The weeks that followed were strained. Adam wanted a small courthouse ceremony, using practical arguments about saving money. But I wanted a real wedding with family and friends. Our disagreements grew sharper. "Why are you being so stubborn about this?" Adam snapped one evening. "A wedding is just one day. What matters is the marriage." "A wedding is a symbol," I shot back. "Why do you want to hide our marriage away like it is something to be ashamed of?" "You do not understand," he said, his voice raw. "You grew up with parents who loved you, in a nice house with stability and safety. You have no idea what it is like to come from something you want to forget." His words gave me the first real glimpse behind his wall. "Then tell me," I whispered. "Help me understand." For a moment, I thought he would. But then he shook his head, grabbed his jacket, and walked out. That was when I made a decision I am not proud of. If Adam would not tell me the truth, I would find it myself. My opportunity came 2 weeks later when Adam announced a 3-day business trip. As soon as he left, I began searching his belongings. In his car, I found an old envelope with a return address. Grace Vance, Redstone, Ohio. Grace Vance, his mother. I spent a day wrestling with myself before deciding. On Thursday morning, I called in sick to work, lied to my parents, got in my car, and started driving to Redstone. The drive was unremarkable at first, but as I got closer to Redstone, the landscape changed dramatically. Neat farms disappeared, replaced by industrial decay. Abandoned factories, warehouses covered in graffiti, and houses barely standing. Redstone itself was worse than I could have imagined. Shuttered businesses, dingy bars with flickering neon signs, a pawn shop with bars on the windows. The few people on the streets moved with hunched shoulders and averted eyes. This was where Adam grew up. This was what he had been hiding. I found Grace Vance's address on a street that dead-ended against a chain-link fence. The house was a small structure with faded siding and a roof missing shingles. The yard was littered with empty bottles and trash. Through grimy windows, I could see a television flickering. I sat in my car for a long time before gathering courage. When I knocked, a slurred voice shouted, "Who is it? If you are here about the bill, come back next week." "I am looking for Grace Vance," I called out. The door swung open. The woman before me looked decades older than she probably was. Her hair was thin and greasy, her eyes bloodshot, and she swayed slightly while gripping a bottle of vodka. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded. "You a social worker?" "I am not a social worker. My name is Diana. I am engaged to Adam Vance. I wanted to meet his family." Her expression changed instantly. "Adam," she repeated bitterly. "That boy, he sent you here to make me look bad?" "No, he does not know I am here." Grace laughed harshly. "You want to see where your perfect man came from? Well, here I am, sweetheart." Before I could respond, another voice cut through. "Mom, who is at the door?" A younger woman appeared, thin and exhausted looking but with sharp, intelligent eyes. "Who are you?" "Diana. I am engaged to Adam." The girl's eyes widened. "Adam has a fiancé? I am Chloe, Adam's sister. You should probably come inside." "Like hell she is coming inside," Grace protested, but Chloe ignored her. I stepped over the threshold and immediately regretted it. The smell was overwhelming, stale smoke and alcohol and something rotting. The furniture was stained, the carpet torn, every surface covered in clutter and empty bottles. Grace stumbled to the couch. "So Adam is getting married. Guess he is too good for us now." "Mom, shut up. You are drunk," Chloe said sharply. "I am always drunk, and whose fault is that? I had to raise 3 kids on my own. I did the best I could." "Your best included bringing home dangerous men and drinking away any money Adam sent," Chloe retorted, her voice shaking. "Your best got Daniel killed." Grace went white, then red, and hurled her vodka bottle at the wall. It shattered everywhere. "Do not you dare blame me for that." "Whose fault was it then?" Chloe yelled, tears streaming. "You brought Victor home. You let him stay even though he was violent, and you were passed out when he killed Daniel." I felt like I had been punched. "Daniel. Adam had a brother who was killed." The room spun. Grace lurched to her feet. "I did not know Victor would do that. I was trying to survive." "You were trying to keep yourself drunk?" Chloe shouted. "Adam did everything. He worked 2 jobs, paid the bills, bought the food, took care of me and Daniel, and you let that monster kill him." "Stop it!" Grace screamed, lunging at Chloe. I jumped between them. "Stop. Both of you. Just stop." Grace stumbled back, glaring at me. "Who do you think you are?" "I am someone who cares about Adam and trying to understand what happened to him." "What happened to him?" "Nothing. He got out. He left us behind and forgot all about where he came from." "He did not forget," Chloe said quietly. "He sends money every month. He paid for Daniel's funeral. He did not forget. He just could not stay in this hell anymore." I looked at Chloe. "What happened to Daniel?" Chloe took a shuddering breath. "Daniel was the youngest. He was smart, wanted to be a doctor. He was only 15. Adam was working a night shift, and I was at a friend's house. Mom brought home this guy, Victor Stone. He was violent, always high. Daniel tried to get Mom to make him leave, and Victor pulled a knife." Her voice broke. "Daniel bled out on the kitchen floor while Mom was passed out in the bedroom." I could not breathe. Tears streamed down my face. Adam's baby brother, murdered while he was at work. "Adam blamed himself," Chloe continued. "He said he should have been here. He testified at Victor's trial, got him put away for life, but it did not bring Daniel back. After that, Adam left Redstone. He said he would never come back, but he still sends money for me." "He abandoned us," Grace muttered. "He is better than you," Chloe said coldly. "He got out before this place destroyed him." And then, through the window, I saw a car I recognized. Adam's car. "Oh God," I whispered. Chloe followed my gaze and went pale. "Is that Adam?" The door burst open and Adam strode in, his eyes finding me immediately. "Diana, what the hell are you doing here?" "I needed to know. You would not tell me, so I found out myself." "You had no right," he shouted. "I told you this was off limits. And I am going to be your wife. I had every right to know who you are. I was protecting you. I did not want you to see this hell I came from. By building our life on secrets? That is not protection, Adam. That is control." Grace laughed harshly. The perfect couple having their first real fight in my living room. "Shut up, Mom," Adam snapped. His eyes were locked on mine. "Diana, please, let us just leave." "No, I am not leaving until you tell me everything. About Daniel, about your childhood, about why you have been carrying this alone." "I was carrying it alone because it is mine to carry. You do not need to be dragged down by my past." "But you were going to drag me into a marriage built on lies? Did you really think we could be happy like that?" "I was hoping you would love me enough not to need to know," he admitted, his voice cracking. Grace tried to lunge at Chloe again, and Adam intervened, pushing his mother back firmly. "Do not touch her. You have done enough damage." "I did my best," Grace whispered. "Your best was not good enough," Adam said coldly. "And Daniel paid the price." Grace sank onto the couch, sobbing. Adam turned to Chloe. "Are you okay? Do you need anything? Chloe shook her head. I am fine. Go talk to your fiancé. She deserves the truth. Adam took my hand and led me out. We got into his car and drove in silence to a small park on the edge of town. He parked and sat staring ahead. Talk to me, I said quietly. Please. Over the next 2 hours, as the sun set, Adam told me everything. About growing up in that house, his father dying when Adam was 10, his mother turning to alcohol. About working from age 12, raising his siblings, learning to fight to protect them. About the parade of dangerous men his mother brought home. He told me about Daniel, his brilliant little brother who dreamed of medical school. About that night 3 years ago when Adam was working a double shift. Grace came home with Victor Stone, a dealer with a history of violence. Daniel confronted them, begged Grace to make Victor leave. Victor, high and paranoid, pulled a knife. Daniel tried to run but did not make it. By the time police arrived, Daniel had bled out on the floor. Adam found out when police came to his work. He saw his brother's body loaded into the coroner's van, saw Chloe arrive and scream until she had no voice. Victor was convicted and sentenced to life. Grace got probation for child endangerment. And Adam at 23 buried his baby brother and left Redstone the next day. I swore I would never come back, Adam said. I could not be there without seeing Daniel everywhere, without feeling like I failed him. I moved to Cleveland, built a new life. But I could not abandon Chloe, so I send money, check in with her. She turns 18 next month, then she can legally leave. Why did not you tell me any of this? Because I did not want you to look at me differently. I did not want you to see me as damaged. I did not want you to know I came from trash. You grew up with everything I never had. I wanted to be worthy of you, and I thought hiding where I came from would make that possible. Adam, I said, reaching for his hand, you are worthy. You have always been worthy, not despite your past, but because of how you survived it. What you went through does not make you less, it makes you strong. He shook his head, tears streaming. You saw where I came from. You saw what my mother is. That is in my blood. What if I turn out like her? What if I fail you the way I failed Daniel? You did not fail, Daniel, I said fiercely. You were a child trying to survive an impossible situation. What happened was Grace's fault for bringing a dangerous man home. It was Victor's fault for being a murderer. It was the fault of a system that failed your family, but it was not your fault. I should have been there, he whispered. You were working to provide for your family. You were doing what you had to do. You were 20 years old. You cannot carry this guilt forever. We sat in silence, the weight of everything settling over us. I understood now why he never drank, why he was so controlled, why he had built walls around his past. Adam, I love you. That has not changed, but we cannot get married with this between us. You cannot keep running from your past, and I cannot marry someone who would rather hide than trust me. He tensed. Are you calling off the wedding? I am saying we need to postpone it, until we figure out how to move forward together, until you can stop seeing your past as something shameful, and until we figure out what to do about Chloe. Chloe? Adam, your sister is living in that house with your mother. She is drowning in the same hell that killed Daniel. You send money, but money is not enough. She needs to get out. She is almost 18. Then she can leave. And go where? With what resources? You got out because you were older, because you had savings. What does Chloe have? Adam put his head in his hands. I cannot go back there. I cannot live in Redstone again. I am not asking you to live there. I am asking you to get your sister out, to bring her to Cleveland, to let her stay with us, to give her the same chance you gave yourself. We are not even married yet. I want to start our life by being a family, a real family. Chloe is your sister, Daniel's sister. We cannot leave her there. He was silent for a long time. Finally, he lifted his head. Okay, we will bring Chloe to Cleveland. But the wedding is off? Postponed, until we work through this. Until you talk to someone about Daniel. Until we learn to be honest about the hard things. He nodded slowly. Thank you for not running away. I am not running away. I am running toward you. The real you. That is what love is. It is staying for the broken parts too, and helping each other heal. We drove back to Redstone and told Chloe she was coming to live with us in Cleveland, that she would finish school there, that Adam would help her apply to colleges. Chloe cried, clutching Adam and thanking him. Grace barely protested. I think she knew she had already lost everything that mattered. We packed Chloe's belongings, which fit into 2 garbage bags and a backpack, and left Redstone as the sun was rising. I followed in my car, feeling a strange mixture of sadness and hope. The next weeks were not easy. Adam and I navigated his trauma, my hurt at being kept in the dark, and integrating a traumatized teenager into our lives. Chloe was prickly at first, testing boundaries. Adam threw himself into caring for her with intense focus. I insisted Adam see a therapist specializing in trauma and survivor's guilt. He resisted but eventually agreed, and slowly began to unpack the weight he had been carrying. I went with him to couples counseling, where we learned how to communicate about difficult things, how to build trust. Chloe enrolled in local high school, and struggled initially with culture shock. But she was smart and resilient, and with support, she began to thrive. I watched her transform over those months, saw the hardness in her eyes gradually soften. 3 months after bringing her to Cleveland, we attended a parent-teacher conference for Chloe. Hearing teachers praise her intelligence and determination, I realized we were her parents now in all the ways that mattered. When we got home, Chloe called Adam her hero. That night, Adam came to me with the velvet box holding my engagement ring. I know we are not getting married yet, but I want you to keep wearing this. Not as a promise of what we are going to be, but as a reminder of what we are choosing every day. To be honest with each other, to face hard things together, to build something real. I slid the ring back on, and it felt different. Not like a promise made in ignorance, but like a commitment made with full knowledge of what we were choosing. 6 months later, Adam filed for legal guardianship of Chloe. Grace did not contest it. The court granted the guardianship, and Chloe officially became part of our family. We decided to get married a year after everything fell apart. Not in a courthouse, but not big either. Something in between. We held it in my parents' backyard on a warm summer evening with close friends and family. Chloe stood beside me as maid of honor, crying happy tears. We set up a small table near the altar with a photograph of Daniel and a candle burning in his memory. During the ceremony, Adam spoke about his brother, about how Daniel had always believed in love and goodness, and how he would have wanted Adam to find happiness. There was not a dry eye in the garden. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, I felt something settle in my chest. This was what marriage was supposed to be, not a perfect union between perfect people, but a choice to love someone fully, with all their scars brought into the light. My father gave a toast about love being brave enough to face the truth. My mother welcomed Adam and Chloe into our family. Chloe gave a speech about how Adam had saved her life and how I had saved his. As evening wound down, Adam and I watched Chloe laughing with my cousins. "Do you think Daniel would approve?" Adam asked quietly. "I think Daniel would be proud of you. I think he would be happy you found your way to this. I could not have done it without you. You did not run when you should have. You stayed and made me face things I had been running from. That is what love does. It does not let you hide. It makes you brave enough to be seen." We spent our honeymoon traveling, but spent one day in Redstone. We visited Daniel's grave together, all 3 of us, left flowers and told him about our wedding, about Chloe's college plans, about the life we were building. It was painful but necessary, honoring what had been lost while celebrating what we had found. We drove past Grace's house but did not stop. Adam was not ready for that, might never be, and I did not push. Healing was not linear, and forgiveness was not mandatory. What mattered was that Adam was no longer running. In the years that followed, our life was not perfect, but it was real. Chloe graduated high school with honors and got a full scholarship to college. She chose social work, wanting to help kids like she had been. Adam continued therapy and gradually made peace with his guilt. He still did not drink, still had moments where the past overwhelmed him, but he had learned to talk about it. Grace died 4 years after our wedding, her liver giving out from decades of abuse. Adam went to the funeral with Chloe. I stayed in the car, giving them space. When they came back, Adam was crying but with release. "I do not forgive her," he told me, "but I do not hate her anymore. I just feel sad for the life she could have had." "That is enough," I assured him. On what would have been Daniel's 25th birthday, we established a scholarship fund in his name for students in Redstone pursuing higher education. It was Chloe's idea. Every year we awarded scholarships to 3 students, received thank you letters that reminded us that even in dark places, young people were dreaming of escape and deserving of help. One evening, almost 5 years after our wedding, Adam and I sat on our porch watching the sunset over Lake Erie. Chloe had just been accepted into graduate school. Adam turned to me. "Do you ever regret it, going to Redstone that day? You could have married me not knowing any of this, could have had an easier life." I took his hand. "I could have had an easier life, but I would not have had a real one. I would not have had you, the real you. I would have married a ghost. This, what we have now, is worth everything we went through. Even the hard parts? Especially the hard parts. The hard parts are what made us strong." He smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes, and pulled me close. Sitting there in the evening light, I felt a contentment I had never known in those early days when I thought our love was perfect and untouchable, because I had learned that love is not about perfection. It is not about hiding the broken parts or pretending the past does not exist. Real love is about showing up for each other even when it is hard. It is about building something together on a foundation of truth, even when that truth is painful. It is about choosing each other again and again, not despite the scars but because those scars are part of the story. Adam had come from darkness, but he had not let it define him. He had survived, protected the people he loved, built a new life from nothing. And when I forced him to stop running, when I made him face his past instead of hiding from it, he found the courage to heal. Our story was not the fairy tale I had imagined. It was messier, harder, more complicated, but it was ours, built on honesty and trust, and the kind of love that does not flinch from the truth. And that was worth more than any fairy tale ever could be.